Hello, guys, and welcome back to Flow State. It is episode 5, and as always, it is myself and Adam. Well, maybe not as always. We've been long apart, Adam. And first, might I say that it is fantastic to be chatting to you face to face again. I watched the Paolo episode a few weeks back. I was like, man, I just wish I was there hanging out with the boys. But first things first. How are you today, mate?
Yeah, mate, I'm pretty good. I missed you big time, and yeah, it's been a good few weeks. It's lots of stuff to chat about today, but it's been great. But I've missed you a lot, mate. It's good to speak to you.
Oh, mate, for anyone not watching, all you can see is mine and Adam's massive grins just from being on camera together. It's fantastic. I can feel the energy in the room already, and yeah, I think we've both been up to a few bits because I mean it's been a few weeks since we've done, man, it's probably been a month since we've done a face-to-face episode, and it's been great, obviously, having the guys from Tailored Healthcare, having Scott on and having Paolo on, but obviously we haven't really chatted about our own situations much, so it'll be good for the listeners to kind of get caught up on what's going with us. Frankly, it'll be good for us to get kind of caught up with what's going on with each other, to be honest. But hey, look, first things first, I haven't mentioned this to Adam yet, but I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a listener who I've actually done a couple, not races with, but I've kind of bumped into a few races, and his name, you'll have to forgive me, I'm not sure on the pronunciation. It's either Rowan or Rohan. I do sincerely apologize, but he messaged me the other day explaining that he'd be running a 100k ultramarathon to raise donations for Headspace Box Hill, which is supporting teenage mental health. And I said I would be more than happy to give him a shout out on the pod. And what I will do for anyone who is in Australia or worldwide that wants to donate to the cause is leave a link to the fundraiser in the show notes. So if you can spare absolutely anything for the cause, it's a brilliant cause, please head over to the link in the description, and that would mean the world to us and obviously the people in need, because obviously Adam and I both have I feel like we both feel quite strongly about mental health, and in teenagers as well that can be especially tough, so I think it's a really good cause. So yeah,
good on you.
Be amazing.
Good on you. Brilliant. I think you said, mate, you were going to donate $100 for every view this podcast got, right?
What? Whoa, mate! I was about to say, I'm sure I can spare $100, but for every view, my word, we do. In all fairness, we get quite a few views. I'm not sure I have that much money, to be honest.
No, good on you, Rowan/Rohan. Fair play. How's his name spelled?
It's Rohan, so it is spelt Rohan. I believe,
silent.
But it could be silent. So I will find out. And yeah, the main thing is that the cause is there, and he's running 100k as well. Don't take away
Absolutely.
the fact that is a huge undertaking, and best of luck with the run itself. So that'll be happening next Feb on his birthday. So Feb 15th, he'll be turning 18. That's when he'll be running the 100k. So that is absolutely brilliant. Good on you, man.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, but I just wanted to say something very quickly. You mentioned the couple of episodes we did with Paolo and Scott, but I just wanted to say how much I enjoyed the episode with Scott. It was brilliant. I don't know Scott personally, but he seems like a really great bloke, and he speaks really well and communicates really well, and I thought his work was very interesting, particularly at the end of the pod when you talked about Scott and his partner/wife. Partner?
His wife, wife Grace.
His wife,
yep.
Scott and his wife Grace, their business. I thought it was dead interesting, but I really loved how he seems to have found real purpose in his work and in his life, and I found that kind of health literacy that he spoke about a very interesting term, and not something I've actually thought about a lot. How a lot of us aren't actually educated in terms of what's good and what's bad, or what's healthy and what's not, and that was a really nice way to describe it. But more importantly, the winery followed by the half marathon, and sinking a few lovely whites. That's a bit of me. So
that is very you.
Good on you, Scott. I was loving that section. So yeah, no, it was a great pod. I listened to it during a treadmill session there on, what day are we on? We're on Friday. Yeah, Wednesday morning, and really enjoyed it. I thought you boys done great. So
Yeah,
fair play.
we had great fun, and like I said, I'm quite close with Scott. In fact, I speak with Scott most days about running, to be honest, and life. And like I said, I train his wife Grace is one of my clients who I've been working with for a few years. So it's wonderful just to get him to come on and chat about some of the stuff that we talk about that obviously listeners can benefit from as well. But now I don't I don't want to leave it any longer. I've been wanting to talk to you about this for what is probably a week now. So you're talking about your treadmill run. Now, we haven't touched base on any training in a few weeks really, but for any eagle-eyed viewers, it would have been last week. See, Adam posted a story with a package that arrived, and I had a sneaking suspicion that I knew what this package was, and I was right. And I'm very excited because this is something I was unable to get my hands on, although I did try. But Adam, why don't you take us away? What was the mysterious package?
Yeah. Well, I got some funny answers first and foremost.
I can say that's quite ambiguous, isn't it?
I'm not gonna read out some of the answers that I did get. Some people were very close. Some people guessed that it was just a lactate monitor, but then subsequently I posted a story with the lactate monitor that I own, which I've had for a couple of years. But it was a beta prototype version. Well, not a prototype, a beta version of I do want to say a continuous blood lactate monitor because
that's what they're coining it. That's what they've called it. That's what
okay,
they've
fair
called
enough. Cool. Okay, so it's a continuous blood lactate monitor that basically a non-intrusive way of measuring blood lactate, whereby you don't have to prick your finger, you don't have to sample any blood. It's just a little patch that sticks to your skin, which is very cool. Like you wouldn't even know it's there. So quite a few people actually have been developing this. You might know a bit more about this than me, Luke, but Mads, Danish coach, along with a few others, there's quite a few people involved in this project out in Scandinavia, have been developing this continuous blood lactate monitor. And it's I suppose it's a very cool project because blood lactate is the number one proxy for exercise intensity. In fact, it's not a proxy, it's a direct measurement really of exercise intensity, unlike speed or heart rate or the other metrics that we tend to measure in running. So blood lactate can be incredibly useful, but the problem is that the monitors plus strips plus actually sampling can be quite tricky. So this is a solution that is going to pretty much mitigate all of that. So I got my hands on a beta version. There's only like a handful of people that have these. Like we're in a WhatsApp group now with this company called Starleet.
Mm-hmm.
Starleet. You can check them out online. So they've developed their website, and I think there's going to be another batch of these when they maybe update something or change something. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Landed at the house and got it on. And I'm probably going to disappoint you a bit here because I haven't used it enough yet. I tried to do a session last Saturday morning, typical like threshold, 8 times 5 minutes, and the plan was to like progress it a little bit, so I could kind of test the accuracy compared with my handheld Lactate Pro 2 monitor. And I was just going to like every odd, so rep number 1, 3, 5 and 7, I was going to just measure blood lactate with both the continuous blood lactate monitor and the Lactate Pro 2 just to measure just like discrepancy between the two. And the way the continuous lactate monitor works is like this little, I've actually got it here. I thought I did. Good podcasting here.
Talk amongst yourselves, listeners.
Yeah, it's like school, isn't it? So here it is. This is what it looks like if you're watching.
Is there any kind of like entry point, or is it literally just going by skin? There's not. I thought there was like a tiny needle or something.
No, nothing. So it's not like the continuous glucose monitor where there is the need for that. There is like there's a little sensor here in the middle, and then around the edges, this like bronze material or bronze color. I don't know what it's made from. That it seems to be what it requires sweat. So that's what it requires.
Yeah.
So once you get a sweat up, then it will begin to measure. But unfortunately, and essentially then what you do is you scan your phone. You use the scanning technology in your phone to measure. But I couldn't seem to get a reading on it. and I was quite frustrated, so I just stopped last Saturday. But a couple of days before that, I just went out for a regular jog, and I was picking up blood lactate. I stopped like 3 or 4 times just to measure it on my arm, and was getting what I would consider accurate readings for an easy run. You know, it was like 1.3 millimole, 1.2 millimole. It was pretty accurate, and I actually progressed then towards the end and picked up the pace and measured at the end, and it seemed to measure quite accurately. So I was quite frustrated when I was in the gym on the treadmill ready to do a proper test that it didn't scan. So that's something that I want to look at. I haven't had a chance this week, but maybe over the next few days is to get it back on and have a little play around. So yeah, that's the crack. That's what it is. But if it works, which I'm sure it will, because there's some good brains behind it, it's going to change the game for athletes. And I'm sure cyclists have had access to this kind of thing for maybe a long time, like, you know, prototypes and beta versions. I don't know. Maybe they are just still pricking their fingers, but it's going to be a game changer. But I have seen reports as well, sorry to keep going and keep waffling, that there's some inaccuracies. I've seen someone report like 3.4 millimoles when their Pro 2 was measuring 2.2 millimoles. So that's a big difference, and that's quite a big swing in terms of exercise intensity. And that would, like, 3.2 in comparison to 2.2 is yeah, you're sort of working at a completely different you're in a different metabolic state at that stage. But yeah, it's a pretty cool piece of kit, and I've thought for a long time if someone could create this, it would be pretty amazing, because what I could see in the future would be what would be really cool. Hopefully I don't give away some cool idea, but something that connects to your watch and actually continuously shows your blood lactate on your watch. Because if you were doing intervals or you were doing a training session and you could be constantly watching blood lactate, that would be amazing. Similarly for a cyclist, if you could have it on your Garmin headset or your Wahoo headset, you know, blood lactate plus heart rate plus power, that would be absolutely amazing.
I mean, you got to think, like, really there's no reason why not to. The fact that, like, you've got companies like Garmin, I'm sure, like, Garmin are probably just waiting for the technology to get there so they can get it right straight away. They'll let these kind of smaller companies do all the hard work with their beta testing and all this, and then all of a sudden
100%.
Garmin will come out with the finished product, and it'll be like, yeah, you've been basically waiting for this to happen, and then it's happened. And because it's no, like, different to how I guess heart rate monitors, heart rate chest straps were a few decades ago, right? So we just got to give it the
absolutely.
time, and I think it's clearly coming along. I mean, the thing that, for anyone who's not listened to it, there's a Runners FM episode that came out earlier this week that Mads is actually on it for the second half, and they do discuss it. And he was saying how at the moment, because they are beta testing and they're basically giving it away for cost price, pretty much. Like, you do have to pay for it, but it's not like they're charging through the roof. They're not making any money from it, so it's obviously not going to be as fast as maybe would like. But I think all things considered, it probably is moving quite fast still. So very, very exciting. I just need them to come up with something for Android, because that was the reason I was there ready to pull the trigger, and they were like, only compatible with iOS. I was like, that's me, done. Which is real frustrating. But
yeah, it is. But it's pretty cool to have my hands on one, and I am going to test it again. Maybe tomorrow morning. Actually, I might do another treadmill session. I might just repeat the 8 times 5 minutes and see how we go. But
so
I've in the WhatsApp group, I have seen some people do some. I haven't really been keeping too much of an eye on it because I've been really busy over the last couple of weeks. But I have seen some people report really good results and actually screenshot kind of the results of their intervals and so on, and it's very impressive when someone's able to get those results, but it just wouldn't scan. I was like standing there trying to scan it, and you know when you're in a session, you're just like, frig this, like
gotta move on. Yeah,
I want to enjoy my session too, and that's actually more important to me. So yeah, I'll try again tomorrow, and hopefully we get some better results. But yeah, it's
so
cool.
Is this meaning that are you taking a hiatus from football? There's no Saturday morning. Are we training? Are we playing?
Game's actually cancelled tomorrow, which is okay, because myself and Kira were heading off to a wedding in Dublin tomorrow evening. So that suits. Thought I was going to have to miss the game, but yeah, I can just do a session in the morning, like 8 or 9 o'clock, and then come home, get ready, and head off. So no hiatus from football. We're still We're still a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Good. That's that's what I was hoping for.
Yep.
Because I also saw you selling a pair of football boots on your story yesterday. I was
Yeah.
like, no.
Someone else texted me out. It's like, is this you hanging them up? I was like, no, not yet. But lovely pair of football boots, and unfortunately they're just too big.
Yeah, they were nice. Did you? They just one you bought online and were like, yeah, nah, no good.
Yep, exactly. I bought them on Vinted, and they're brand new, and they just don't fit. Like, they're a UK9, and all my other running shoes and the other football boots that I had are UK9, but these are just too big. I cannot
fair.
wear footwear that is not, that it doesn't fit me properly. Like, I know lads that will put on 2 pairs of socks and do all that stuff, or they'll just get a pair of shoes, and even if they're a bit too small, they'll cramp their feet into them. Not for me, mate. Things like they have. I'm so bad with that they have to fit.
It's got to
I'm
be
just not.
comfortable. You have to be comfortable, man.
Yeah, and if I'm like thinking about them when I'm wearing them, whether it's even just day-to-day footwear or football boots or running trainers like sportswear, I can't have it. I cannot have it.
Yeah, I used to be the same. I was like a couple of years ago when I was really into like sneakers. Not that I'm not into now, but you do anything to get your hands on a pair, and it's like, yeah, half a size too small, even a size too big. I'll take them. I'll do it. Whereas now I'm like, nah, they've got to be spot on. And I think it was you that got me into the habit back when I started running. That every pair of shoes, bar ones that I literally can't get in person, I will try on before buying them.
Fit is absolutely key.
It's so, and not even just for running, just for living in. Like, you will mess up your feet so bad by wearing ill-fitting shoes.
Yeah, if you're someone that can wear a pair of shoes that don't fit properly and not constantly be thinking about them, then yeah, you're a better person than me. You're a better man / woman than me. Yeah, I can't do that.
100%.
Yeah, mate, you can probably see I'm just constantly seeing my eyes and these goggle marks. We've just got out of the swimming pool, and I've still got the goggle eyes.
What was the session? I was actually going to ask about swimming. What was the session?
Mate, swimming is mental.
in a good way?
In a good way. So there is absolutely no way that you could recall a session. Well, I certainly couldn't. So I kind of talk you through our journey so far.
Yes, I was hoping you would.
As we spoke as we mentioned the last time we spoke, myself and Kira, Kira has done a bit of swimming in the past, and she was quite keen to get back into the pool and do a bit of swimming. So I agreed to go along and thought it would be great whilst I was taking a break from racing to kind of start this. So maybe 7-8 weeks ago, we started like 2 mornings a week, 6 a.m. doing a swim together, where we just jump in the public lane and whatnot and swim away. So we got 3-4 weeks of that, and then we were starting to think to ourselves, look, it would be pretty nice to join a club and be involved with other people and get some coaching and all the rest. And the club sessions, they happen at the same time as we were going to the pool anyway. So Kira was a part of this club before, which is really good, and we know quite a few of the people involved and quite a few of the coaches and stuff. So we bit the bullet 2 weeks ago and joined up with the club. And yeah, it's amazing because you don't just go in and swim. Like, you're coached, you do specific sets, you do what they call drills, which I've just learned about, where you're doing all sorts of things and using all sorts of equipment like fins on your feet, which make you feel like an absolute dolphin, by the way. You might use a pull buoy between your legs if you're like focusing on your arms. You might use, what's the other thing we've been using? We used a couple of things. Fins, pull buoy. I don't know, my mind's gone blank.
Talk amongst yourselves again, listeners.
Great podcasting. But yeah, we use different pieces of equipment at different times depending on kind of what drill you're doing. And then, like this morning, for example, was by far the most swimming I've ever done. It's amazing when you do get involved with a club, how you kind of like push yourself and you just do it. Like before, I had a kind of second guess my stamina in the water, whereas when you're in a group swimming and you're kind of, you're in the middle of other people swimming, you kind of just do it. You know, it's autopilot. So it's been class. This morning's session was amazing. So it was an hour, 6 to 7. You're at the poolside for 5 to 6. Your alarm goes at 5:10. It's been great. And the weather doesn't change in the pool. Like I was just saying to you before we jumped on, it's -3, -4 today, and very, very, very frosty and icy. So getting into the warm pool, or the poolside is warm. It's lovely. but it's been great. I was saying to Kira, like after every session we do in the pool, it's like, let's say you've had, like, because some of the sessions are on a Wednesday night as well, and we've done evening sessions too. But let's say you've had like a really busy day, or there's just been a lot of stuff happening. You jump into the pool, and like, see, from you jump into the pool and get out of the pool, it's this separation between all of the mental stuff that's been going on in your brain during the day, and when you get out, it is just complete clarity. It's an amazing feeling, and my head just feels completely clear in a way that running maybe doesn't do for me anymore. Because when you run now, you can think a lot, but it's given me this mental clarity that is just unbelievable, and it keeps me. That's what's keeping me going back.
I guess it's that autopilot thing, right? Like running, most of us can do, especially runners, obviously. Like you just do it in your sleep. You can just like start running. Whereas swimming, I guess if you're not like a habitual swimmer, you have to be so switched on that it's literally mindfulness, right?
It is all technique, like all technique. And even the really good swimmers in the club are constantly being coached on technique. You know, you could be swimming your whole life and you're still being coached on technique, because you nearly cannot be efficient enough. You know, water is creating drag, and your body is creating drag in the water, and there's like dead spots in the water where you don't want to maybe put your arm. This is all the more complex stuff that, like, I don't need to even think about right now, because I'm just working on the basics, like keeping my legs together and pointing my toes and all those bits and pieces. But yeah, I'm absolutely loving it, and Kira's really enjoying it too, which is important, and we're enjoying going there together, and it makes getting up easy and going easy. And usually, like, we sit and we have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee afterwards, and yeah, it's been great. But I would say the best thing is just that clarity in your head after. It's honestly like second to none, because you are thinking. Football kind of gives me the same. Do you know when you're playing a game, you just can't think about anything else, because your brain is just so switched on to the match. Swimming is the same. Like when I leave the football pitch, that's how I feel, and when I leave the swimming pool, that's how I feel. Running, it gives you the endorphins and the dopamine, but you do a lot of kind of thinking when you run, which is great too, because you can kind of like solve problems and so on. You can't solve your problems when you're swimming, but that clarity is because you're just too busy like trying not to drown. But like this morning, I think, Nate, I think this morning we covered like a bit over 2,000 meters. You know, like we covered
hectic,
like
isn't it?
2,200 meters, and there was a bit of intensity in there as well this morning. Today was definitely the best session I feel like I've done. But really enjoying it, and like it's lovely to see those little improvements every time you go. Like the first 4 or 5 weeks, I was leaning very heavily on the pull buoy, which I mentioned to you before, is that little piece of foam that you put between your legs to stop your legs from sinking. And I was just like, how am I ever going to get rid of this? Because every time I took it out, my legs would just sink, and then I would be getting to the end. I would get to the end of a 25 meter or a 50 meter length, and I would be gassed. Like, I mean, gassed, because my body position was so poor. And now the full session today was without pull buoy. Like every single length was without pull buoy, and it's amazing how you just improve with little cues, and it's the drills that help too, and having someone actually watch you and correct you and all the rest. So yeah, it's been brilliant. We're absolutely loving the swimming. So roll on the next Olympics, mate.
Fuck yeah, triathlete. We've got a triathlete. Get you on a bike and
mate. See if I had a pound for every single person that asked me, right? When are you signing up to an Ironman, or have you signed up to an Ironman, or have you signed up to a triathlon? I'm like, absolutely not. I don't even have a notion of a triathlon in my mind right now. I'm just enjoying doing something different. Well, mate, I'm playing football.
Yeah,
you know,
true.
I'm just doing fitness at the minute. I'm not training with a purpose or anything like that. I'm just putting like hours in because I enjoyed it. And whether it's football, or whether it's running, or whether it's swimming, or whether it's hiking or walking, like it's just yeah, that's what I'm doing at the minute, and that's what I'm really enjoying. And maybe, like, I have no doubt in the future, if everything goes to plan, like, I will do a triathlon, but I have absolutely no notion of it at the minute. And a few people have been like, oh, you're lying, you've got a triathlon, you've signed up to a triathlon next summer, and you're just saying it because, you know, you don't want to be like accountable almost. But mate, if I had a triathlon in the books, I would tell you, I'm just not that kind of person. I couldn't care. Who knows?
To be honest, I reckon you'd be so excited you'd tell me straight away. But no, I do hear what you're saying. I get you, and I think it's naive to think, because I think it was on Paolo's episode when he was talking about the triathlon, I was like, yeah, they're, I don't know, just once you've done the marathon thing, it's like maybe not a full Ironman because that's hectic. Like that is a huge commitment just in terms of time spent training. But the half Ironman is very doable. I feel from our standpoint at least, and I think
Yeah,
the biggest roadblock to that is absolutely going to be swimming, because most of us can jump on a bike and do pretty well. Most of us can obviously run. Just swimming is just a whole different ball game, right? But you get that down,
100%.
it's like the door kind of opens. It's creaking. It's creaking, man. And you're like, oh yeah, one day, one
Yeah, well,
day.
that would have been the stumbling block for me,
Mm,
because 8 weeks ago I couldn't swim.
mm.
Honestly, I couldn't swim properly. I couldn't jump in and do 5 lengths because I would just be gassed. My legs just don't. Remember when I was telling you at the start, like I just sunk,
Yeah,
and it was so frustrating because.
like a
But
brick.
I've solved it. I've solved it somehow. I can do it now. Like we jumped in this morning and they were just like, okay, like 250 meters to warm up, which is it's just 10 lengths, just straight front crawl with your feet kicking, and I was just able to do it, absolutely no problem. So
Even that seems
I'm
like a
like
lot, doesn't
absolutely
it?
chuffed. I'm like so delighted with myself that
Yeah.
I've been able to do that, because that seemed like a mountain 8 weeks ago. So you can probably tell I'm buzzing. It's I think it's great for your brain, that that,
Yeah.
like that
I
stimulation,
think
but
just having that mindfulness, so you're getting the endorphins from exercising, but you're also getting that meditative effect from thinking about nothing else but one thing. That is so good for us. That is the flow state. I'm not even going to
it
lie to
is.
you. Like that is what we talk about when we talk about the flow state. It's just alpha brain waves. You are just in the moment, and you're just doing that one thing, and that is genuinely one of the best things for us, really.
And you feel the buzz off the back of that, and that's what I was saying to Kira. She was saying how great she feels, being in the routine of getting back in the pool and doing some training and everything else. And it's amazing the energy that you feel. I know we've talked about this before, but it's amazing the energy that you feel when you actually move your body more. And
Mm.
I think so many more people should understand that, is that in order to get energy, you have to actually use energy.
Expend. Yeah,
I think this
yeah.
concept of energy is misunderstood grossly.
Hmm.
Energy is not found by sleeping or resting. That's different. That's recovery and rest, which of course is essential. But that concept of energy, for me, it's always found by moving my body,
Hmm.
and yeah, you can just feel that buzz in your body. It's amazing.
100%. And again, I talk about the podcast, the Runners FM episode with Mads. Like I've been following Mads really closely on Instagram for a while, and I actually sent him a message the other day because he posts like really, really good stories, but he doesn't actually post posts. And I was like, look, man, your message is fantastic, and I'll come on to that in a sec. But he just, you can't reshare his stories. So I was like, man, you're missing a trick here, because I'd be sharing everything. But long story short, he's always like just promoting. We underestimate how much we need to move, or the benefit of just general movement. Like you get people that basically set themselves, let's say you set a target of 10,000 steps. And to be honest, for most people, that's a chore. And then when they get there, they're like, sweet, done. Don't want to move anymore. It's like, that's not how it should be. We should be like striving to literally move as much as possible across a day, especially if you sit down for a job. You should be like just endeavoring. And I think, excuse me, I've been doing the same. Like it's just always a case of, okay, how can I be moving? How can I be kind of, because even in just moving at a low intensity for a longer period of time, it's like it talks about, obviously the adaptations are maybe a little bit slower, but your mitochondria is going to get more efficient. Your body's going to get more aerobically fit, even at really, really low kind of heart rate zones. And that in the long term is going to, like you said, lead to more energy, because the cells can take in more substrates, more carbohydrate, more fat. And as a result, you'll be able to churn out more energy. You'll feel better. You'll be able to move better. And yeah, I think even for runners, don't underestimate the power of like volume walking. Just
Hmm.
move more. It's not just
Just
about
moving.
it's not just about doing some LT1 intervals. right?
100%. I remember hearing some stories about some athletes back in the day. Like, I'm talking about the top athletes, the top marathon runners in the UK and Ireland. And can't remember who it was, but essentially they worked on a building site during their career, and they were bricklaying, building a house. And I think this guy was like a 2:12 marathon runner or 2:11 marathon runner. Obviously before race shoes, before all the rest, like running in bloody plimsolls. And he had said in an interview that, like, when he stopped working on a building site, because he got so good in the marathon that he actually was able to stop his work and was able to sort of train full time, work maybe a little bit, and then make money from race prize money. And he said as soon as he stopped working on the building site and just completely focused on running alone, his running actually went really poorly. And he puts it down to just not moving his body as much. Yes, he was training, but like the Africans and elite athletes, they eat, sleep, and they train, and they don't probably move throughout the day. But this guy, anecdotally, had said his running just went really poorly when he wasn't moving his body as much, and maybe it was because his body had adapted to that over time, and then all of a sudden he had stopped. But he went from moving his body pretty much all day plus training to just training and resting, and his running just didn't go as well. I must try and find that story again, but I just thought it was interesting. I remember reading about it and thinking it was just an interesting one.
It does check out because, I mean, you talk about Kenyans and the fact that they do kind of get to the point where when they're at the very top, all they do is eat and run. But it's like, well, when they're kids, they're just moving. Their bodies are adapting to just either being on their feet or working on a farm or whatever, and it pays off. And I think that's probably, I mean, that's the reason why I think ultimately there aren't as many kind of probably Caucasian runners at the highest level, is because we grow up fucking on iPads and Game Boys, which I won't say too much bad stuff because that's how I was raised as well. But that's
No,
why
you're absolutely right.
that's why we get injured and we're not as good runners ultimately, because we sit down at school all day, we go home, we sit down, watch TV, and we just spend
You're
most of the day
absolutely right.
sedentary, right?
You're absolutely right. And that's again why someone that has played sport as a youngster, when I speak to a potential new athlete and they've been involved in sport throughout their younger years, it's like music to my ears, because the adaptations are always better. The adaptations to training and the results are always amazing when you start to put in the right structure and you actually start training properly, because they've got that development already. And even if they haven't done anything for a really long time, let's say they've gone off and they've got a job or worked or had a family and they've really left their exercise routines behind, you find it again. And that it's two things. I think it's that, like, development from whether it's an aerobic point of view or like a cardiovascular point of view, but it's also the, like, motor patterns or the ability to actually produce force that lots of non-sports people struggle with. I've seen that quite a lot. And you can always tell someone that has been involved in sport. It's not a blanket rule, but it's definitely more prevalent. Similarly, like if you get someone that's been an Irish dancer, they can produce force and they're fit and because they've done that throughout their younger age. That's something that's pretty interesting as well. Like, dancing as a young person will lead to better running.
Absolutely. I mean, you're building that musculature as well at a time where it's actually, as long as you're somewhat active, it's quite difficult to lose muscle mass. And same thing, you build it up as a youngster, it's going to be a lot easier to A, get back, but B, maintain as well. So that's something worth noting. And like we're talking like it's a lot of it is kind of, oh, that's it, your chance is gone if you've grown up a certain way. But truth is, you can absolutely get to that point. And to be honest, it's not really ever too late. The only downside of picking up, like, let's call this just general movement or up in your movement, is you just got to be more careful with it. To be honest, like, you can't go from, okay, I'm doing 2,000 steps a day and maybe running once a week to 10,000 steps every day and running 6 times. It's like, yeah, that's going to be silly. It doesn't mean you can't get there. You just have to be more careful, I suppose, are more pragmatic with dosing that, and that's where a coach comes in to guide that. But yeah.
It absolutely is where a coach comes in, and it's actually a nice time of year to mention that because, well, maybe it's a bit premature, but in January, everybody gets the new year, new me. You
Hmm.
know, I'm going to change and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Maybe less so now. I think more people are kind of in tune with like that just doesn't work and it's a flash in the pan. But you know, anyone that takes up a brand new regime and it's jumping in at the deep end, 5 classes a week, 5 HIIT classes a week, and you're trying to do your steps every day, you're not gonna continue that. That's gonna break down pretty quickly. If you've gone from nothing, if you've gone from sitting on the sofa,
Hmm.
it's got to be progressive and just take it one step at a time. And with that, you'll find massive improvements quicker than you'll find if you jump straight in and overload yourself very quickly. Um, you don't have to do it every single day. You
Hmm.
can, if you're hitting the gym, if you're running, if you're swimming, whatever it is you're doing, I would be number one candidate for this because when I do anything that's new, I'm just like, I love this. I want to do it more. But just give yourself a break in between, go for a walk or just chill out and progress it. And you'll find not only will you enjoy it more because you keep it quite novel, but you'll adapt more because you're recovering. Yeah.
100%. And like, I mean, how much you swimming at the moment, right? You're probably only swimming a couple of times a week, and as a result, you look forward to it, you enjoy it more in the moment, and it's like you get that kind of that longing towards it as opposed to just getting too much of a good thing.
100%.
But yeah,
100%. You want to talk about your training?
I do. So
What have you been up
funnily
to?
funnily enough, I have been nothing major has changed over the last few weeks. So still doing a fair bit on the bike, and then I was basically like maintaining let's call it around 35 Ks of easy running a week. And a couple of times I did try and up the running volume a little bit, and it didn't go well. And um, for anyone who's been listening along, I finally had an appointment with a sports doctor earlier today, in fact. And long story short is it's not the worst news ever, but he's the first person who's given me an actual straight up look, this is the diagnosis I'm giving you. And I think I spoke about the heel fat pad that sits under the bone, and it's basically what protects it. It was basically he's like, look, that it's inflamed. There is inflammation there. There's probably some like fluid under there. And the deloads I'd done in the past kind of were capped out about 2 weeks. And then I'd just gone back to running, and even stuff like high volumes of walking and the elliptical. He's like, look, man, if you want to, like, I think get rid of this, it's going to be 6 weeks off any running and probably 6 weeks off the elliptical as well, and a reduction in steps. Because again, I was realistically doing kind of 10 to 14,000 steps on top of my training volume.
We got to get you in the pool, mate.
You're right, right. I'll get there, man. I'll get there. And I'm like, okay, this is, I mean, look, it could have come at a worse time. It's actually okay at the moment because I'm like, look, I've got a baby coming in January. It's coming up to Christmas, and I'm not training for anything really. So look, if we're gonna do this, let's just do it. Because obviously I can still cycle, and chances are I'll probably end up having to find a way to get on the bike more. Because at the moment I'm basically cycling around my work volume because I have to come home to get on Zwift. So it's going to be more time on the bike. And then I was thinking about swimming, but the only downside is, and obviously we're all in different positions and there's no excuses, but it's just time at this point. Like, it's hard enough to try and get home on work days to try and spend like an hour and a half on the bike. Cause unfortunately to get kind of somewhat close to what you'd get on a run, you have to increase the volume on the bike because you just need more volume for cycling, especially for the zone 2 stuff. So I'm spending more time on the bike than I would on an equivalent run. And I do fancy jumping in the pool. Here's what the Dr. Chris Lim, for anyone who's interested, works in Essendon. He was like, yeah, swimming's going to be great for you, cycling's going to be great, but there's not really much else I can do by way of training. So can't do the elliptical. Don't think I can do the rower. Not that I'd want to spend extended periods of time on a rower anyway, but yeah, so
Okay.
That's that, mate. I don't know. 6 weeks off. When was the last time you had 6 weeks off running?
When I
If
took a
ever.
seizure. Yeah,
There,
when I
there you
took
go.
a seizure.
Yeah.
I actually am not even sure if I had 6 weeks off running. I don't think I did. Um, Never then. Yeah, never.
Mm.
I can tell you now how long I had.
I'd be interested to know, and I'd be interested to know how you dealt with it, because I think at the moment I'm still actually quite positive, just because it's like this is the first person that's told me that I think this will get better and you will be injury free. It's
Yeah.
just 6 weeks is a long time.
Do you know what, mate? Like, a break does no harm.
Mm.
Like, honestly, mate, you're young. You know, I just listened to a podcast with Sinead Diver, Sinead Diver yesterday. An Aussie podcast actually. Elise Speaking spoke to Sinead Diver, or I just call her Sinead Diver. It sounds weird saying Diver to me, but I'm sorry if that's actually not her name, but I call her Sinead Diver. So great podcast. She had like a really tumultuous time during the Tokyo Olympics, or sorry, the Paris Olympics. She pulled out after a very short amount of time with an injury, but there was a lot of. Do you remember what happened during that period of time? There was like a lot of
Nah.
selection drama about that Olympic team, and there was like an appeal lodged by one of the ladies that felt she should have been selected because the selection criteria was, I suppose, not the most crystal clear thing in the world. It was up to a committee to choose based on performances and stuff. But anyway, she was selected, ran, pulled out after 5K due to an injury. This is the first time she's spoken publicly since it, and subsequently she actually took a really long time off running. But anyway, I suppose the point that I'm trying to make is Sinead is 48 years of age and holds the Australian marathon record that she only set like a couple of years ago. So
Mm.
she's an elite athlete at the very top end of the sport, and she hasn't been running for. She picked up running, mate. I want to say post 40.
Okay. Okay.
Um, she wasn't running in her 20s. She picked up running after kids and all the rest, and like she's running those times, and now she's back and she's back competing at a world level
Mm.
as she's almost 49 years of age, mate.
Mhm.
So I think it's so easy to get so like caught up in our own brains about whether it's a year off or whether it's 6 weeks off or whatever. It's a stitch in time. It's a stitch in time, and it's going to give you this renewed vigor for the sport mentally. And yeah, like the way I suppose I dealt with it, to answer your kind of question on that, was I think once you get a few weeks into that sort of recovery process or that period of time, you just develop new routines, and
Mhm.
you kind of lose the attachment to your old running routine, and you've maybe got that already, but obviously that could change again because you can only do, say, bike plus swim or whatever. But I think your brain just shifts into a new place, and it becomes less, let's say, okay, performance focused and race focused, and you become happy with the new normal, and sometimes happier, which is great. Like I would say, like I'm happier than ever at the minute with just where things are mentally, and
Mm.
that's ultimately that's what we all want, isn't it? It's happiness, mate. And
For
without
sure.
going too
Yeah.
deep, I think time just starts to sort things out. And as long as
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
still doing the things that you enjoy, which for me, like it's ultimately come back to, I love moving my body every day. I love getting outdoors, getting in the swimming pool, playing football, meeting up with the lads, like having the crack with the lads at the football.
Mm.
That's that's everything for me. So running will be there when I want to get back to running, and whether it's goals that I chase or fun that I chase or travel that I chase when I do go back to the sport as a sport and really training for the sport, um, cool. Like it'll be what it'll be, and yeah, that's the way I look at it for sure.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the best way to look at it, and I think it's just I think the thing that came hardest for me is you were talking about that drive for running, and I did like around the same time. I guess it was where I was only able to do the easy running, and it was kind of just it was kind of dull. I was losing the love for it because it was kind of forced upon me that I couldn't do much running, and then it wasn't really going anywhere. But then recently, I don't know what happened, but something must have been around the start of November. I was just like, man, I just want to. I think it was seeing all the marathons come up. I think it was seeing the Sydney,
FOMO.
less FOMO, man, seeing the Melbourne Marathon, seeing a couple of these halves pop up. like New York, Chicago, and I was like, fuck, man, I want to be racing again. And so this has like really been building, and all of a sudden, like I'm there, not necessarily, I tried not to have expectations going into the appointment today, but part of me was wanting him to go, oh, okay, we just need to like maybe take a week off, maybe just start wearing this in your shoe and you'll be fine. You can get back to doing your mileage. So when he said like 6 weeks off, I was like, okay, like sick. I can do that, but it's going to be a bit tough. But then, like you said, it's like it is just a stitch in time. I know that there's more important things, and I'm so fortunate to have my bike set up, and maybe I do try and get in the pool. Even today, I actually booked in a sauna and an ice bath because I was like, I'm just going to treat myself, and I'm like, well, maybe with some of the time I would have spent training, I can just actually go and enjoy that because again, the ice bath, that was rough, man. I used to be able to do 10 minutes in that thing. I was like 2 minutes. I was like, I'm done. I am out. But it's great. It was great fun. And I felt really good coming out of it. So I'm like, look, I need to make lemonade as the saying goes, as an analogy for you, a cliche, sorry. So yeah, and I will try and get in the pool. The only downside is that I don't know. Did you teach yourself for the first few sessions? Were you getting self-taught, or did you have Kira
Yeah,
giving you?
kind of like I was kind of going self-taught, and Kira was giving me a few tips, but I was so attached to that pull boy. Like I could
Mm,
swim, I could swim. It's not like I was starting from the absolute ground up.
mm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean,
I've
I can.
actually been seeing Philly Bowden's videos lately. She's swimming a lot, and she's posting quite a bit about like her journey, quote unquote.
Mhm,
But like I see when she started, she was like she needed like one-to-one lessons just to like
mm,
put one arm in front of the other and kick. But yeah, I felt like a beginner because I just couldn't swim without that pull boy. Like I
mm,
couldn't swim freestyle or front crawl without the pull boy. Um, but it was nice also because that then, like if my legs were tired from running or football, it allowed me to just isolate my arms and sort of get my arms conditioned because you do glide. It sort of puts your body in a better position because it brings those legs up, and I could focus on breaking the stroke down. So I think there's a big advantage to that as well for me personally because there's a lot to think about when you're just swimming freestyle. Whereas that pull boy allowed me to completely forget about the bottom half of my body, keep my
mhm,
legs together, and just isolate the top half because breathing is massive
mm,
and breathing properly is massive. Um, Not just for your breath, but also for like your body position and reducing your drag and keeping you relaxed. So I could isolate my upper body plus my breathing whilst I was using that pull boy for those 4 or 5 weeks.
mhm.
And then Kira was just like, you need to lose the pull boy because if we're going to join the club, you can't be using the pull boy. You got to do the session as prescribed. So, how did I can't really remember. I think there was just I basically did like every session then that I was using the pull boy. Let's say I was swimming 2,000 meters. I swam maybe like 400 of those. Or I started with maybe swimming 100 without a pull buoy in just 25-meter intervals, and then I built it up to maybe like 300-400, and then that's when we sort of joined the club, and then you lose that. So it's been yeah, it's definitely been a process, but
Mm.
um, that's definitely something that I would get is grab a pull buoy,
Okay,
and work on your stroke, or just get a couple of one-to-one lessons to
that's
begin
what I was thinking.
to
That I was
kind of
like, just because I
just
don't have a
assess.
Kira.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I would have done if I was in your shoes. I would have jumped in and been like, right, like, can someone just help me here? Get a lesson, get a couple of lessons where someone gets you in, gets the fundamentals down, and then you just take it from there. That's the journey started, and that's always the hardest
Mm,
part. I had this conversation with, I'm helping a couple of lads out who are running the Rome Marathon in March time for charity, and I told them I'd sponsor some coaching. So I had a conversation with them yesterday, and they're actually Gaelic footballers, so they're fit and they've had a really long campaign just gone. So they're really fit, but they're not runner fit, endurance fit. The musculoskeletal system isn't strong for running, and that's what I said to them when I was speaking to them. I was like, getting the start point of this journey right is the most crucial thing. And I say that for everyone that I actually take on board to coach, because if you get that right, things can just progress nicely from there. And it's no different for the swimming. Get that start point right, and even undercook the start point. If anything, you want to undercook your start point. Go more beginner than you think, and you're going to pick up like little things and adaptations along the way. And that's the number one with any, I think, new endeavor, whether it's swimming or running or whatever, is get the start point right. Don't jump in at the deep end, for pardon the pun, and you'll be absolutely sweet.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good advice, and maybe something I'll look into. I don't even know if there's any pools around here, but I think there's two things.
Well, that's the thing. You need a swimming pool.
I know swimming pool's number one, and to be honest, if I found one, I I know it's not great fun, but even just some like water jogging or whatever they call it.
Aqua jogging.
Aqua jogging, yeah. Just see if they've got the harness for that. I think apparently most places do. When I was speaking to the guy today, he was like, "Yeah, a lot of places will have one. You just kind of borrow it for whatever." So I don't know. I'll admit, worst comes to worst, like out of all this, in my head, I was like, "Look, I'll spend 6 weeks just focusing on building a little bit of muscle." I do work in a gym. I'm a personal trainer after all. Like I can just substitute a couple of days, except that. Okay, it's going to not necessarily take me away from my goals because I'm moving away from that anyway, but just do something, build a little bit of muscle.
You don't need to be a cardio junkie all year.
Exactly. Like, and chances are whatever I build, I'll probably just end up losing again when I start running. So it's not like it's going to.
But even something like, I don't know, does your gym offer like yoga or Pilates or anything like that? I think that kind of stuff's good.
It doesn't. It's not less for my gym. But yeah, I did also think about something like a Pilates. Again, I'm not sure that would really tickle my fancy. I'm not sure that would tick the box, but fuck it, who knows? Like we'll see. I'm gonna do I'll probably do a little bit of a reflection at some point and just map out the next at least 4 weeks up till Christmas, or however long that is, and then just see what that looks like and go from there, mate. But
yeah, cool.
Hey,
I should probably go on ahead.
I was just gonna say before we wrap up, I was gonna do plans for the weekend, but you go.
I should probably also say, I just mentioned, because we are a running podcast, that I have actually been doing a good bit of running over the last number of weeks. I've probably been doing like 4 runs a week. I've also been jogging to and from football training because it's just easier. It's a mile there and a mile home, and the place where we go is really busy, so it's difficult to get parking. But I have been doing not a fair bit, but like, I don't know how many miles.
A reasonable amount.
Yeah, I've normally been doing like one steady run. I haven't planned this, by the way. It's just the way it's like came out. I do whatever my body kind of feels like it can do that day. 1 or 2 threshold sessions, 1 easy run or 2 easy runs, and maybe a steady run if I don't do the threshold or the second threshold. So plus our social run. So I have been running. I haven't completely just turned into a footballer and a swimmer, but just thought I'd throw that out there because we are a running podcast after all.
We are, and we will still, don't get me wrong, we will still talk about running, although only one of us does only some running for at least the next 6 weeks. The plan is to still talk about running, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of running related topics.
Yep. And my running feels good. My running actually feels pretty good. I feel more athletic because I've been doing more like twisting and turning, but also the thresholds that I've been doing and measuring. If I have measured lactate, it's been, when I compare lactate versus speed versus heart rate, it's in a pretty good place. Yeah, so I'm just enjoying what I'm doing.
So it's ironic. A while back we were talking about how just doing running makes you feel less athletic, and I feel like for the first time you're in the position where you probably feel quite athletic at the moment, right?
Yeah. I think I've got some like upper body muscles too for the first time in a while.
Interesting. I need to see proof of this, because you're gonna make me jealous, man. I remember when you first showed me a picture of you doing CrossFit, and I was like, "Fuck, man, you are jacked." You were jacked at least. Like lats like Christmas tree, mate. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I had a thick neck.
Yeah, you actually did. You're like I reckon if you were to give muscle hypertrophy like a good go and were to dedicate like a year to training in the gym, I reckon you'd probably blow up, mate. I reckon you'd be
probably
pretty spicy.
Yeah, my legs gain muscle very easily. I don't know about my upper body, but no, I actually have noticed like my upper body just a little bit more filled out with the swimming, especially after a session. See, when you get out of the
Yeah,
pool,
pumped.
I'm like, jeez,
Is that
I
Arnold?
look great.
Bro? Is that Arnold Schwarzenegger? Oh no, it's just me. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm yeah, standing in the mirror.
Yep, that is it.
Flexing.
That is
No,
fantastic.
I'm absolutely not that guy. I'd be in the gym sometimes, like doing a treadmill session or on the bike. I actually see people like flexing in the mirror. What is that about?
Hey mate, I work at a bodybuilding gym, so mate, this is like a daily occurrence. Like, yeah, it's just it's just one of
That
those
to
things.
me is weird.
Yeah, I think if you're competing and you need to practice, because we get a lot of people that like compete in bodybuilding, amateur bodybuilding, and so
It's
if
their
you've got to,
sport.
it's their thing. But if you're not competing and you don't need to practice, it's a bit weird. It's
No, mate,
a
I'm
bit
not
weird.
even talking about that proper like practicing the poses. I'm just talking about just looking at themselves and oh man, it actually turns me. I'm sorry if I've
Just
offended anyone, but it's
mate,
I find it
offend.
I find it makes me feel awkward.
Mate, that's gonna be
Y-
the name of the podcast this week. Just to get views. It's gonna be like Adam hates bodybuilders. See if
No,
we
I
get
don't
like
hate
heaps of views.
bodybuilders.
You heard it
Oh
here
man,
first, people. Adam hates bodybuilders, right?
I can't attend the gym again.
Yeah, no, it's game over. Um, great fun. But look, before we do offend anyone else, like I think now's probably a good time. Your boy's tired. I've had a long old day, and we are recording a little bit later than we normally would. But before we do wrap up, Adam, what's on for the weekend? What's happening? Plans?
Chilled one tonight, and then we are at our friend's wedding tomorrow. So, a couple of guys that we met in Melbourne, Mark and Leah, we met those guys when we lived in Mansfield, which is where we done our regional work for our second year visas. So they were at our wedding last year, and we're at their wedding tomorrow. So really looking forward to that. And then Sunday, mate, just chill. I think we may swim Sunday, or I might run on Sunday. Don't know. See how the weekend goes and see how many beers I take on Saturday night, and we'll go from there. What about you?
See, see how many Guinnesses your boy can handle. We actually don't have any major plans. It is my birthday on Sunday, but we actually don't have any plans.
Happy birthday, mate.
Thank you, mate. Thank you, mate. I'm
Happy,
sure.
happy birthday to you.
I appreciate it. It's a bit of a quiet one this year, and that's my doing. I've specifically said I don't want to make a deal out of it. 'Cause it's not. It's like it's 31. I had the big one last year. I'm not one to bring too much attention to myself when it's not like needed. So, well, I think we'll just see where the weekend takes us. Chelsea are back. Premier League's back.
Yeah,
Get it, bosh.
absolutely.
So we'll be watching. We'll be watching plenty of football after what was a pretty good international break. I'll be honest with you. Like, I think it's pretty clear now that I do want to see Ireland do well. And
You didn't even
you,
get speaking about that.
I know, and I don't want to get into it now because
No,
it's
too late.
it's a kettle of fish. But my God, for anyone who missed it, just I don't even want to tell people what happened. I just want to be like, get on for any Aussie watchers. It's not even if you got Stan, watch the highlights on Stan. But if not, just find it on YouTube. It was a game to get into the playoffs of the World Cup for Ireland, and that is the Republic of Ireland. Because I appreciate not everyone knows the difference between Northern Ireland and the Republic. They're two different teams. But it was a playoff game to get into the playoffs between Republic of Ireland and Hungary. And what a fucking game it was! My gosh,
Unbelievable. And Scotland as well.
and Scotland. Like, I need to watch. I saw the Scotland score. I haven't watched the highlights, but all I heard was apparently there was 3 of the 4 goals that Scotland scored could go down as the best goals Scotland have ever scored, and it's the first time they've been in the World Cup since a long time ago.
But
I think
80, was it
88?
88?
88,
Yeah, I think
I
it was
think.
88. I think. I hope I haven't butchered that. I think it was 88.
That is
Oh, man, it's
phenomenal.
unbelievable. Absolute scenes in Hampden Park as well. Just incredible for, class.
Yeah, and
So we now have to play in a playoff, obviously, in
Mhm.
March. We play Cheshire. Czech Republic. Czechia.
Czechia. Yeah, Czechia.
How's that pronounced?
Yeah. I'd pronounce it Czechia, but
Yeah, so I'm tempted to go over to Prague, you know.
well, that'd be fantastic.
One of my good mates lives in Prague, so I'm tempted to go over, if I can. But listen, we'll talk no more about it.
Although I'll just
spoke for
leave
the
us-
hour, and you got to get your ZZZs.
I do, but let's not also forget that England in this World Cup qualifying have now gone 8 games unbeaten, and we have not conceded.
Yeah, but we all know what's going to happen at the World Cup, mate.
We're gonna win the thing. You know what? This
You
is
probably
the first.
won't get out of the group, mate.
Nah, it is coming home, and let's leave
Yeah,
it there.
actually, do you know what? You will get out of the group. You'll start chanting it's coming home, and then you'll get knocked out.
Yeah, no. What will be worse is we'll actually start believing it's coming home, and then we'll lose another final because I feel
Same
like
thing
that's
every time.
it's the same thing every time. But look, if it's going to happen, Tommy Tuchel's going to make it happen in Tuchel, I trust. But look, let's leave it there. Like I said, it's been.
Man, I could talk about football all morning now.
I know.
Talk about
So could I.
Bellingham, talk about Tuchel, talk about all the drama, mate. It's we gotta go.
We should have a Flow State spin-off podcast. Maybe that's a discussion for
Flow
another
State
day.
football.
Yeah, Flow State football out on Thursdays. So no, look, let's leave it there. Like I said, it's been fantastic being on camera with Adam again. The boys are back, bosh. We will see you guys very soon. Thank you, as always, for liking, watching, subscribing, all that good stuff. And like I said, if you're up for donating to, I'm going to call him Rohan. Sorry if that's not right, but donate to Rohan's 100-kilometer fundraiser. That would be amazing. Link is in the show notes, and we are looking forward. I won't be around next week. This is.
Got some celebrations planned.
I got some celebrations. I think that's a late celebration for my birthday and an early celebration for my anniversary. Not that I'm married, but my anniversary. So it will just be Adam. We're yet to decide what to do with that one, but there'll be something. And yeah, we'll be back then together early December. All the best. Keep running, keep swimming, keep playing football, keep watching football, more importantly. And we will check in with you guys very soon. Take care.